Outside the scratched porthole above the bar, the sky was the color of old blood, which is to say, it was Mars. 14 months of breathing canned air, 14 months of reconstituted fool mudammas that bore the same relationship to the real thing as a photograph of your mother bears to your mother. Walid was wiping the wood with a rag that had forgotten what clean felt like. She was not looking at me. She set an amber glass in front of me without being asked. A different bottle, I noticed, from the synthetic araq she poured for the off-shift miners. I sipped. My name is Fuad Al-Masri, 44 years old. Doctorate in areological stratigraphy from the University of Iskandariya. 21 years learning to read the deep time encoded in rock. A scar on my left hand from a field accident in the Al-Farafira depression 12 years ago. A moderate dependency on a synthetic anxiolytic marketed under the trade name Sukoon. Approximately 1100 Martian Authority script in an account I tried not to think about. I had come here to read rocks. What's the news tonight, Walid?
One of the survey boys, down in the lower ring, Corridor 79er. The Bab boys say it looked geological.
Geological.
Your word, not mine.
I sipped my drink. The sky outside was the color it always was, which was to say exactly 37 million kilometers, from anywhere I'd ever wanted to end up. My comm chimed with the authority override. No header, no courtesy, just the ping that said answer.
Al-Masri, 79er.
Channel cut. Petrov didn't issue orders so much as deposit them and leave. I emptied the glass in one motion. The private reserve was better than it had any right to be. I could head out into the main corridor and go to 79er, or I could visit the old souk at this hour. The bar hatch cycled shut behind me. The corridor was pressurized, humming, alone at the wrong hour. Mazboot was waiting against the composite wall. Gray authority security uniform, the heavy build, the reason he had the job. The kind of man Petrov sent when he wanted someone delivered rather than asked.
المصري.
Mazboot. What's Petrov want?
You, down in 7-9er.
I can find it. He did not move from the wall. The question of whether I objected was not one he had been sent to consider.
After you.
Corridor 7-9er was in the lower ring, which meant it was older, which meant the lighting panels flickered in the particular rhythm the engineers kept promising to fix and never did. The walls sweated. Someone had taped a Quranic verse above one of the junction hatches. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Petrov, broad Kazakhstani, flat, permanent grievance, was waiting for me at the junction, arms folded, his expression somewhere between professionally neutral and quietly furious.
Al-Masri, you're the geologist.
One of 6. Why am I the one standing in a service corridor at 11:40 at night?
Because the others are either off habitat or unavailable, or they didn't answer their comm.
Sensible people. He didn't smile. He stepped aside and let me see. The body, the cracked faceplate, the open right hand lying against the composite floor. Around the hand, a radial dust pattern, almost crystalline in its precision.
Cause of death?
He asked it the way a man asks if dinner is almost ready. I'm a geologist, not a coroner.
You're here.
That's increasingly a condition I'm having philosophical difficulties with. Petrov gestured toward the dust with a thick hand. I went down to one knee beside him. My knees ached. They always ached now. Low gravity is a lie, they tell you. It does not spare your joints. It only teaches them a new way of aching. Up close, the dust pattern was worse. Not worse, clearer. Radial lines too even to be footfall, too fine to be atmospheric settling. Something had left from under that hand in every direction at once. I did not touch anything. Who else has been in this corridor tonight?
Only authority security. Me, Mazboot, the 2 boys who found him. No one else has been in this corridor since the body was called in.
There was a strange sincerity to how he said it. The specific kind a man uses when he is trying to throw off a guilt he has not been accused of yet. He was young, mid-20s at most, still wearing his survey coverall with the Earth Core consolidated patch on the shoulder. The patch that meant he had come up on a corporate contract and not an authority billet. The kind of young man who had been promised something and gotten Mars instead. His helmet sat neatly beside him, faceplate cracked in a radiating star pattern. His face was... I looked at his face for a moment and then looked away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Indeed, to God we belong and to God we return. I hoped that when my time came, it would not be under this Martian red sky that would not tolerate me. I took out my field scanner, old habit, I carried it everywhere, and ran it over the dust pattern. The scanner chimed softly, parsing the spectrometry. I need to find a clean sample. The jarosite recurs. I need to isolate it in every core. I looked at the readout for a long time. I could not believe my eyes. The scanner had pulled phyllosilicates out of the dust, hydrated clay, jarosite, iron sulfates, minerals that only form deep and slow, where rock sits in warm water long enough to grow them. The matrix indices dated the sample to the last 10,000 years, from a stratum 400 meters down, on a planet that went geologically dead 2 billion years ago. Nothing from that depth had any business being that young. Something down there had been warm and wet long after all of it should have gone cold.
Why is your face looking like that?
To men like Petrov, the ground was there to stand on. His understanding of it did not extend any further. And tonight, I did not think I would change his way of thinking. Where was his survey assignment?
Grid 19, Northern Reach, surface survey.
He was underground.
The habitat is underground.
His face began doing something complicated. I was not sure how much I should continue telling him. I mean below the habitat. He went down there, and something came back up with him. Petrov stared at me. then at the body. Then his eyes went to the verse taped above the junction hatch, and his face did something private and complicated.
I'm going to need more men.
You're going to need a better geologist than me. Unfortunately, as you noted, I'm the one who answered. And I need a drink. The junction hatch sealed behind me. The service stair up from the lower ring was narrower than the corridors above. Sodium pale strips every 8 meters. The hum of the atmospheric processors 2 levels down, moving in the walls like something breathing through teeth. I needed to tell someone, not Petrov. What I had left behind me on the floor of 7-9er was not an incident for a security file. It was a readout, and there was one person on Bab al-Hadid I trusted to look at a readout and tell me whether I was reading it correctly. I pulled out my comm. She answered on the 3rd chime.
Al-Masri. It is past midnight.
I need you to tell me I'm wrong.
Wrong about what?
I have a sample from 400 meters below the habitat that is less than 10,000 years old. She didn't answer right away. I let her have the silence and counted the hum of the processors through the wall.
Where do I meet you?
Let's meet at Walid's bar.
40 minutes.
Walid set a glass in front of me without being asked. She had learned a long time ago how to recognize a man who was waiting for someone he had calmed at midnight. And she had learned that asking about it was nobody's work. 40 minutes. I had all of them. Walid, has anyone been in tonight who doesn't usually come in? She looked at me. She looked at the door and then back.
Drink your drink, ya Masri.
Which was all she was going to say, and was also an answer. Dr. Amara Seydu arrived at the bar 40 minutes after I ended the call. She had that compressed readiness, like a spring that had never fully been allowed to unwind. She set her sample kit on the bar with the deliberateness of a woman placing a weapon. Walid set a glass in front of her without being asked. Not the synthetic Arab she gave the miners, the private reserve.
You know you've been wrong before.
I have.
You were wrong in a fairly ordinary way.
You're going to want to look at the readout first. I unclipped the scanner and held it out to her, handle first. Amara gave a soft nod, accepting it. The screen woke under her thumb. Amara's eyes scanned the readout, stopping occasionally. I could almost track exactly what word she was reading.
These are recent. I would like them to be a mistake. Do you have a sample I can look at?
Walid watched from the end of the bar. One hand on her hip, she had poured Amara the private reserve, and she was not a woman who poured it to watch it go warm. I think you should drink that first. Amara looked at the glass, then drank it down in one go, the way you take something you have decided not to taste.
Show me.
22 minutes. Amara said nothing I could hear from where I stood, which was back near the junction hatch, leaning against the wall in the particular way you lean against walls when you are trying to appear professionally detached and are not entirely succeeding. Petrov stood on the other side of the corridor entrance, with his arms folded and the expression of a man who had filed a preliminary report and was now waiting for someone else to tell him what it said.
Tariq Saleh, 26. Palestinian Jordanian, born in Amman. Geology BSc from the American University of Beirut. Recruited into Earth's core survey program at 23, 3 months into his first Martian rotation.
Supervisor?
A man named Holst, currently unreachable.
Unreachable how?
Unreachable, in the way that people are unreachable when they know someone is going to ask them questions.
Petrov was not watching me. He was doing the specific not watching of a policeman who had already decided I was worth watching. He would check his comm in about 90 seconds, affecting disinterest, and he would not actually read the screen. She moved through the forensic protocol the way a piano tuner moves. Tiny adjustments, eyes on the readout, no wasted motion. She had a habit of pressing her tongue into her cheek when she was certain of something. She was pressing her tongue into her cheek. I made myself look at his face properly. His expression was wrong, not the wrongness of pain or fear which I had been prepared for. It was more specific. He looked like a man who had just been told something that restructured his entire understanding of where he was standing. I know that expression because I wore it myself once. Al-Farafira, depression, 12 years ago, when I cracked open a limestone formation and found inside it a chemical signature that implied a biochemistry that had no business existing in Cretaceous North Africa. I was wrong as it turned out. Contamination artifact, my supervisor concluded, and he was probably right. Tariq Saleh looked like those 4 seconds had lasted the rest of his life. Seydou straightened. Her knees didn't ache. I noted this with quiet resentment.
The phyllosilicates are real, not contamination, not a sampling artifact. You ran the depth correlations against the survey maps?
Before I calmed you.
And
there's nothing in any map I've written, any map Earth Core has filed, any authority baseline survey that accounts for a hydrated silicate formation at -400. The northern lowland stratigraphy at this location should be
dead.
geologically inert, dry, cold, undifferentiated Noachian basalt. But the compounds in that dust pattern weren't laid down 4 billion years ago. They're within the last 10,000.
What does that mean in practical terms?
It means something moved underground recently. It means Saleh may have found an access point.
An access point to what?
Neither of us answered him. 1 in the morning. 9 square meters. Lights at 30%. The air recycler made its small domestic sound. On the shelf beside the bed, the Sukoon, pale red tablet, scored down the middle for the prescribed half-a-day dose. Distributed through the authority medical dispensary at a subsidized rate because someone in the authority's psychological welfare division had run the numbers on anxiety incidents in isolated high-risk environments and concluded that a mildly sedated workforce was a more productive workforce. I didn't take it to be productive. I took it because without it, the dark behind my eyelids had a tendency to become the color of a sky. That would kill me in under 3 minutes. He looked like a man who had understood something completely and been unmade by the understanding. 12 years ago, I wore that expression for 4 seconds in a limestone seam outside Al-Farathira. He wore it until his face stopped being a face. My mother had cried when I took this posting, not with pride, the way the mothers of astronauts cry in old films, but with the specific grief of a woman who had lost one thing and recognized the shape of losing another.
You don't need to go to the end of the world, Fuad.
I had explained that Mars was not the end of the world. She had given me the look mothers give when they know they have already lost the argument. 1.9 meters above my face, a thin crack in the polymer coating that I had been watching for 14 months and which had not, as far as I could tell, propagated. Everything in Bab al-Hadid was like that. Not failing, not stable, suspended in that equivocal state between the two. I placed the tablet on my tongue, swallowed, waited. The Sukoon began its small mechanical kindness. My calm chimed. The message was text only. No header, no signature, no authority timestamp. I set the calm face down on the shelf. A warning with no name on it is just a shape in the dark. I sat up on the bed and put my back against the composite wall and kept my eyes on the hatch. The Sukoon was in my blood now and did not care what I was keeping my eyes on. It took the ceiling first, then the shelf, then the hatch, and then me. The Sukoon pulled me down. Just before I went under, in that specific corridor of half-consciousness where thoughts lose their grammar, I had the distinct and sourceless conviction that something 400 meters below the floor of Bab al-Hadid had been 10,000 years patient and had only recently decided to stop waiting.
Drink your drink, ya Masri.
The Adhan al-Fajr reached me through the bulkhead as the panels came up, compressed through 5 hatches worth of composite, down to a thread of voice and a suggestion of the shape of a word. I had not knelt to pray at Fajr since my father died. I did not kneel to pray now, but I stood still in the cabin for the length of the call, which was a different thing, and was the thing my mother would have accepted as adequate without saying so. Then the recitation ended, and the habitat hum resumed its usual work. And I reached for the coverall that was not the one I had slept in, because there was a day ahead of me that had a particular shape. And that shape ran from a dead young man in 7-9er to whatever was 400 meters beneath him. I woke into the specific quality of light the habitat used when it had decided on its behalf that I should be conscious. Panels at 40%, no warning, no transition. 14 months and my body had still not agreed to be trained by it. Authority override. Petrov.
Al-Masri, Medical Bay.
He clicked off.